Hello guys, this is going to be an overview of some of the options you can find on the new 8th generation GTI S, which is the base car. This is coming from a long-time GTI owner. Our first new car was a Mk8 in 2006, and since then my wife and I have owned 7 of them. The GTI is a car we truly love, so we take notice and can be really critical whenever Volkswagen decides to make changes for the worse. The Mk8 received some price cutting for sure, but I think it offsets the balance with plenty of added technology and options. We are really enjoying the new car, and I hope this video helps future GTI owners make their decision. Let's talk about some of the things that the base car gets, because this car actually got a bunch of updates compared to a Mk7. So now this car got parking sensors in the front and in the rear. They come standard. You also get active cruise control, the Volkswagen logo in the front. You get blind spot monitoring, and that's the light that you see on the side of the mirror. You also get heated steering, and this is standard with all the models. So now of course you get this amazing digital gauge. I love it how it looks, and it's fully customizable. Well, maybe not fully, but it has a bunch of views, and then you can adjust data or information on each of the sides. And then if you hold view, you can get rid of the side gauges. It looks super clean. I really dig it. And one of the big upgrades we received is the LED headlights. So this one doesn't have the adaptive LED headlights that you get with the upper trims, but they still work really good, and it's a vast improvement over the Mk7. The steering wheel, despite losing its buttons, now it actually feels a little better. It looks great, it feels great, it's the right size. The paddles for the DSG, it is what it is. They're not the best, they're pretty small. So of course with the base GTI you got these cloth seats, and these are a little different now. They feel really nice. My wife really likes them. I really like them. The base GTI now has keyless start, which is great. However, it doesn't have keyless entry. It just doesn't make sense to have keyless start but no keyless entry, because if I have to use the key to get inside of the car, right? Now, where am I going to put the key? Might as well just go ahead, start it up and leave it on the ignition. Now the key's laying around, right? I have to put it back in my pocket, in your purse. If it had keyless entry, then it would make sense, because I don't have to pull the key out for anything. I just open the door, close it, start the car, and I get going, and the key remains in my pocket. But I understand it's a base car. They have to, if this car had all those good options, they will steal sales from the SE and the Autobahn. And of course, this car is not going to get the DDC, which is the adaptive suspension. But the suspension on this car is brilliant. It's not one of the things that I feel like I gotta have. You're also gonna get synthetic leather with the cool seats, which this one being cloth, it doesn't have. You don't get the memory seats or memory mirrors, and that's something that people might want. This one doesn't get that light bar that they put in the front by the hood, which looks kind of weird. These seats, they are manual. They are not fully electrical like on the upper trims. And to me, it's just faster to find the perfect driving position. So let's get it started so we can play with the infotainment a little bit. And a lot of reviewers were having issues with this one, that they were trying to disable traction control. So they would go to vehicle, and then they had to swipe, and then they had to go to brakes. But on the base car, it's a little different. As you can see, I cannot swipe, so I don't have the brakes. So to disable traction control that way, I actually have to go to settings, I have to go to brakes, and then you see ESC system in there. However, there is a much easier way to do this. No matter what screen you are, unless you're using Android Auto, then you have to go to the Volkswagen interface. You can pull this drop-down menu, and then you can disable your traction control this way, which is how I do it. Pull down, traction control off, okay. So it's quick to do, but again, it takes your eyes off the road. One of the really cool settings is this ambient lighting. This is really cool how they did this. You can have the ambient lighting. I have to get some video when it's dark at night, because it looks amazing. It looks really good. Which I have a blue, which is like Golf R style, which I like a lot, because I can come here, make it red. Not bad. It's a little, then you got the yellowish, That one looks pretty cool, right? And then the bluish Eternity. So this one has the wireless charging pad down here, but it doesn't have the wireless Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. On this one, you actually have to plug it in. One thing that the base car doesn't have is on this screen, on the upper trim GTIs, you can swipe to the side. You're gonna see 3 dots down here, and you can actually swipe to the side, and you have other screens where you can put widgets. Just like on your phone or your computer that you can put little widgets with commonly used options, this one doesn't have that option. Here you have the cruise control, and of course you can set the distances just like any other active cruise control car. You can have active cruise control or standard cruise control. The side assist, which is your light on the mirrors, and the rear traffic alert, which is something new also for this year. The Mk7s didn't used to have that. I think they integrated that into the rear Volkswagen logo that you used to open up the hatch is now like a sensor. So that's pretty cool. Front assist braking, which I hate. I really hate this thing, but it activates, it's a safety feature. It activates every time you start the car. Actually, you can go to your assist menu right here. And by the way, this is the only way to get to these options. You cannot get to these options through the standard menu. You actually have to click assist. Active, you can have the steering wheel to vibrate, which sucks. I don't know why you would want to have that, but it's not a lane centering system. It's a lane assist that once you start getting close to the line, it pushes you back towards the middle a little bit, but then you start going to the other side and it pushes you back, and sometimes it doesn't really work, and it's going to tell you, hey, hold the steering wheel. Active cruise control, and then you can adjust the distances, medium, close, very close, far. Let's put it back on medium. The lane changing, the side assist. You can adjust the brightness. You can have it more dim or higher. I like it higher because sometimes the sun, it looks like a tinted glass and it's kind of hard to see. Then you have the front assist, the auto emergency, and I have it on late because a couple of times already, here I am trying to accelerate and pass somebody and the car is braking because there's a car in front. I'm like, oh my, I couldn't believe it, man. So I put that in late, and I try to turn it off if I'm going on a long trip or something like that, because again, I don't like this emergency braking. Let me drive my car. The emergency assist, I think that's if you have a crash, it calls rescue services for you. So I guess that's good to have. So those options, the only way to get to them is pressing assist down here and then actually going to the settings, or you can have it in here, press this one, and then you can activate, deactivate. But to actually get into the settings and adjust the sensitivity and stuff like that, you have to go through this menu. If you go through regular settings or vehicle settings, it's not going to be there. You have to go through the assist. Something to note, these buttons, you hear that? These ones don't have that. You hear that little tone, but you don't have the actual, that feedback that these ones give you. And then mode, you can have Eco, Comfort, Sport, or Custom. I have the driving dynamics on Sport, steering on Comfort, climate control on Comfort, and then active cruise control on Sport. When you go to mode, you don't got that Nürburgring mode. And the good thing about these, if you turn off the car and your mode is on Custom, it will stay on Custom. And then this one has a nice little slider in here to adjust the brightness. On the Mk7 you have the little wheel down here to adjust the brightness, but at least it's not hard. Up here, just like on your phone, you get used to it pretty quickly. Again guys, it's not a bad system. It's actually pretty quick. I haven't found any glitches. Menu is kind of weird because if you press menu, look at what happens. It opens up the camera. I don't know. It's supposed to show this, I guess, but it alternates, and then you have different types of views down here, and of course you can adjust the colors and stuff like that. So, and then climate, pretty simple. I have it on off right now. You can have the fan on auto, turn that off, turn that off. Nope, I don't want auto, turn the AC off, and then all the different options. Everything is controlled through the screen, which is unfortunate. I would have loved to have all these AC controls down here somewhere, but again, it's the decision that Volkswagen took. I like the new vents. It's all manual. On the Mk7 you have a little wheel on the bottom to close and open them. But I like this because the way they're positioned, it blows the air to the center of your body. Before they were up here, and you had to push them down a little bit to get that. But the way they're positioned now, I like them a little better. I also really like this honeycomb design trim that they have. This right here is friggin' awesome. Usually you put your phone in there and it stays in there, and the cool part is if you plug it in, the height, at least this is a smaller, this is a Pixel 5, the height is such that the cable is not really getting bent. And for most of the driving, if you're driving really aggressively, you probably want to put this somewhere else, but for most of the driving you put it in there and it stays in there, and you can have it charging. And now you have, in my case, Android Auto comes up, and yeah, it works flawlessly, really nicely. The system, the audio system sounds really good. Man, before buying this car, I had a BRC, a 2022 BRC. I only had that car for about a month, unfortunately, because that car is brilliant. But the audio system on that car was horrible. This thing is a vast improvement over that car. Volume, tons of volume. Again, I'm not much of a audiophile, so I cannot really tell these differences, but sounds really great. And then the system itself is pretty simple, but it's fast. I have never found myself lagging, and I don't know if that has been an improvement, because I know some reviewers complain about the system lagging. And then on the Mk7 you had the lead, so I'm kind of glad they left this entire area open because it allows for more room. I like this opening here. The cup holders, I don't know, man, it's a weird design. On the Mk7 they're really nice. They have this design for the smaller cups, and I guess it works, but this is not, look at this, this is not like we had before. I don't know what the hell this is, and I don't know what kind of cap fits in there, because a regular water bottle really doesn't. It's like super loose. You have to put a regular water bottle inside here. The one advantage is my wife did tell me her bigger water bottle that she uses, it kind of fits in here, but I don't know. I like that they put the 12-volt socket in here. You can run your radar detector. That's nice. This in here hasn't changed, same as the Mk7, but it's good to have some space. The side pockets on the door, they're huge. They go like way back in here, and yeah, you can put a lot of stuff. My wife's got an umbrella, and in here puts all kinds of stuff in here. The switches, the side mirror adjustment, all of this hasn't changed much. This is basically on the same positions, even if it has different design. People complain about the plastics, but guys, the stuff that I touch, this stuff right here, the stuff that I touch, everything is soft. They could have put in here some knee padding, which sometimes I do leave my knee right there. Steering wheel to adjust, it goes pretty far back, up and down. The seat, if you are a tall dude, watch this. Look how much leg room. And that's one of the advantages of not having a sunroof, because if you were to wear a helmet and you have the sunroof, you do lose some of your headroom, because the headliner actually is a little shorter. Visibility from inside this cabin is just premium. This car has so much visibility, and that has remained the same throughout the generations, because Volkswagen is just like kind of like Porsche with the 911. It's just like an evolution, not a revolution. How versatile, how quiet, how refined it is for the price point. It's really hard to beat. The infotainment piece pissed off a lot of people. Once you know where to find the stuff, it's just with the finger. It takes a little bit more precision. I would like buttons myself, but this is not a bad system. Was the Mark 7 better? I think so. I think the Mark 7 was pretty much a perfect daily driver car. However, the Mark 8 base car, it has so many improvements, so many things added to the base car. The sensors in the bumpers, the cross traffic alert, the LED lights, the 7-speed DSG, they finally fixed it, and I'll talk more about that. It's just a bunch of little improvements that the base car has over the Mark 7 base car that it makes it worth it to move up to the Mark 8. The lights, I just leave it on auto. I barely touch it, but otherwise you can enable, disable all you want. You got the fog lights, the funky looking 5 fog light deal, and then you have the rear defrost and the front stuff. Of course, now you do lose your manual handbrake, which man, that's a bummer. The radar goes off. I want to slow down closer to the speed limit, pull that e-brake a little bit, and so yeah, that's gone. So again, all the manufacturers are doing this. And then we come down to the DSG. Now we have this little thing down here, which I don't mind that much, except for the fact that now we lost manual mode. Before, I could move it to the side, and then I would be in the middle of a turn, and my hands would not be by the paddles, and I could shift. With this one, you can no longer do that. Of course, you have your drive mode, and then you click it once again, and it goes to sport, just like before. If you want to go to manual mode, you have to click one of the paddles. You can also go to manual mode while in drive, but then again, after a few seconds, it will default back to the driving mode. On sport mode, it actually becomes fully manual mode, and it will stay there unless you press it again. What I'm really happy about is how the DSG now shifts. I'm trying to remember if our 2015 was like this, but I know in 2017, the 6-speed had really long gears. I was happy when they introduced the 7-speed, but then what happened is they made it shift like an automatic. The transition wouldn't be crisp, it wouldn't be sharp, it would be like an automatic, like if you had a torque converter on it. Once I found out the way they had tuned that DSG, I was so disappointed. When I started watching reviews about the Mark 8, that was one of the first things that I saw and I liked, because I saw the cars, they're starting to get the fart, they're starting to get that pop, especially those European cars that have that Akrapovic exhaust. If you drive a manual, you don't care about these things, but if you like a DSG and you're like me, that's gonna be huge. So yeah, DSG works amazing on this car. Drive mode is for fuel efficiency. It's gonna shift pretty quickly and keep you around 1500 RPM. I always drive it either on sport mode or on manual mode. And sport mode is just way too easy to engage. It's just one click, so that's pretty cool. When you're just driving around casually, I keep it on drive. I disable the start stop, otherwise it will turn off on every light. Oh, that's the other thing. If you keep it on sport, which is just one click after you put it on drive, it will not shut off for the light, but it's weird, the RPMs will stay higher. Watch this. All right, so let's disable. Oh, by the way, this is how long it takes for the screen to boot up. Let me turn off the AC, climate, turn that off. And then let me bring this down and disable start stop. In sport mode, they're around 1100 RPM, right? If I put it on drive mode, watch what happens. It dips down to around 950. So yeah. And they also program, my 17 wasn't like that, but the 2021 car, the Mark 7.5, it also had that. Some other things that the 17 car had, it had a little drawer right here, which was really convenient to put some crap in there. And then it had an under the seat drawer, which, man, I hope I can find one for this car, because there's plenty of room down there. I know some people are saying like, oh, they went to hard plastics. I don't know. It's still, this is a base car, and it's got all these options. It's this refined. It's got this powertrain, which is, actually, let's go outside. And then, of course, we went cheap. on this one right here. We lost the struts, but yeah, same 2-liter turbo, now on its 4th generation. This bracket is new. O2 sensor for the downpipe is now up here, and looking from the bottom up, the downpipe looks like it's really easy to replace. But yeah, this thing, it is what it is, right? Money saving. I already ordered a strut that is gonna come down from here all the way up to here, so not bad. You got the radar stuff in here, the lights. Not a bad looking car. Oh, and then on the seats, you got this red accent in here, which looks pretty cool. These pockets are new. These are the same. My wife's loving it. I'm loving it. I think it's a phenomenal car. Let's go for a little drive. And then on the highway, it's just brilliant, refined. I mean, it's always been good. Disable traction control, okay. And with the little tuner I put on it, it's pretty quick. Coming from a 2022 BRC, which is a phenomenal car, but that car has so much road noise on the highway, and the stereo, you could barely hear the stereo at those speeds. The bad thing about having the touchscreen is it's hard to keep clean because you have to touch it constantly. So, and then having this piano black doesn't help matters, which yeah, on the Mk7 you had a little bit of it, but it was easy to keep clean because you wasn't touching it all the time. I think stock for stock, this is a more enjoyable car to drive. I don't know if it's the suspension tuning. I know the exhaust sounds a little better. These things with the JB4, they gain like close to 50 wheel horsepower, which is a ton. Yeah, it rips. It's nice. All right, guys, that's all I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a thumbs up and leave any questions or comments you have below, and I'll try to answer those and get to those as soon as I can. Uh-oh, got Bambi over there checking out the new GTI.